Hey and welcome. It's Sarah here with the Boss Body Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm always so honored and humbled by the fact that you're allowing me into your life, into your home, into your car, or wherever you are listening. And I just want to thank you so much for being here. Today, I want to talk to you about the topic of forgiveness and how lack of forgiveness affects not only your physical health, but also your mental and emotional health. Because this podcast is about holistic wellness. It's not just about weight loss. It's not just about the physical, because all of it are tied together and create your total wellness, mind, body, and spirit. And if you're going to be truly healthy and truly joyful and live the life you are meant for, we have to address all these different angles. So when I talk about forgiveness or lack of forgiveness and how that is affecting you, what I mean by that is holding on to old anger or resentments for someone or something that you feel has wronged you or betrayed you, and how holding on to that and not releasing it through forgiveness can affect your overall health. I was reading a study by Fred Luskin. He's a PhD, and he is the director of the Stanford Forgiveness Project, and he also wrote a book called Forgive for Good, a proven prescription for health and happiness. And he talks about how it is proven, scientifically proven, that holding on to anger and resentments increases conditions such as cardiovascular disease and cancer, and it also shows negative changes in blood pressure and muscle tension and immune response. So there is no denying that your physical and your emotional are very much tied together. Every emotion that you feel in your mind has a physical response in your body. Think about when you are sad and you start crying, or if you're anxious and you start to have heart palpitations, or if you're nervous and your palms are sweaty and your heart is beating. All of those are physical responses to an emotion, so they're undeniably tied together. Toxic emotions have also been shown to affect your mental health, because people who stay in this place of anger have higher levels of stress and anxiety and panic attacks. And taking this one step further, I would argue that holding on to emotions also causes us to hold on to weight. So anything that we're holding on to that is negative is going to affect our physical body. And if you're holding on to something that is bringing you down, your body is also going to hold on to weight. So breaking that cycle and freeing yourself metaphorically, of those emotions will also free yourself from the weight that is weighing you down. Not only that, but emotional pain interferes with our ability to take positive action for your goals. So if you are bogged down by this sadness, by this anger, by this resentment, it is going to keep you from moving forward to your goals, because you need to feel positive. You need to feel energized. You need to feel motivated in order to make positive changes in your life. So if you're allowing this to continue to bog you down, you are giving up your power. So you're actually giving your power to the person or the circumstance who hurt you to begin with. So before I talk about how to actually go about forgiving someone, I want to talk about what forgiveness means and what it does not mean. So forgiving someone does not mean that you nullify or deny your experience, because this thing did happen to you. Someone did wrong you or betray you or hurt you. And by forgiving, we are in no way condoning their action. We're not saying, okay, what you did is okay, because it wasn't. You have to honor your experience and your pain. So it isn't about blaming that person, but it is about actually honoring the pain that you went through because of their actions. And forgiveness also does not mean that you are seeking to repair the relationship. It doesn't mean that by forgiving, you are going to move on and continue with this person. Maybe you're going to, but you have to decide from here on what boundaries are safe for you and what type of relationship you want to have with this person. Because forgiving doesn't mean you're going to continue to subject yourself to the same treatment. It means you're going to let go of the past. You can forgive someone and choose to never speak to them again. So it in no way dictates your future with this person. It's just about the here and now and your own feelings and your own experience. The first step in moving toward forgiveness is allowing yourself to feel that pain, to feel that hurt, to feel that anger. Don't run away from it, because you have to acknowledge it and validate it and experience it before you're going to be able to let it go. So you need to honor your experience and feel all the feels, even if it is uncomfortable. Anytime we have emotions, we don't want to block them out. We don't want to numb them out. We often do this with food or with alcohol or just diverting our attention and watching TV. If you truly want to forgive and move on and get rid of this resentment, you have to give yourself that time and that space to feel these feelings. Often it's a feeling of rage and anger. So cry, punch a pillow, break things. One of the things I like to do, I'm embarrassed to admit this, is I scream when I'm in my car alone because nobody can hear me. I'm out on the highway. Obviously, I make sure there's no cars around me when I'm doing it because I would look like a crazy person. But I cuss. I yell, I'm spewing those profanities and F this and F you and whatever I want. Scream as loud as I want because it's that release. You have to release it. Maybe you just need to have a really big breakdown and cry session. Whatever you need to do, let that emotion wash over you. Just accept it and ride the wave because it's going to peak. And then it's going to dissolve. And that's the way we let those emotions flow through us. And that's the way that we release them. And the next step is where the forgiveness part comes in. And forgiveness doesn't mean you said it's okay. And it doesn't mean that you weren't wronged. What it means is accepting that the person who hurt you was not strong enough to give you what you needed. It's realizing that they didn't have the strength or the tools or the knowledge or the mental capacity or the positive role model, whatever. They weren't able to give you what you needed. They weren't able to quit drinking. They weren't able to be faithful to you. They weren't able to get help for a mental illness or their own issues. They weren't strong enough to be emotionally present for you or to be physically present or whatever it was that you needed that they didn't give you. They weren't strong enough to do it. And it has nothing to do with you. It has to do with their own issues. And part of not being able to let go of emotions is that we internalize. We think that the way people treat us is our fault or due to our shortcomings, that we aren't lovable enough. we aren't worthy, we're not valuable enough. And that is not the truth. The way that people treat you has everything to do with them and their own issues and their own experiences. And it isn't about you. So releasing that is also a big step. And that is what forgiveness means. It means you understand their shortcomings are the cause for them not being able to give you what you needed. There's another author and speaker that I have read and listened to a lot, and her name is Caroline Myss. And she says that people, when you look at it from an eternal perspective, that everyone has a purpose on this earth, and that she calls it contracts. You have contracts with people before you come into this world, because we're here to be each other's teachers. And maybe that person's contract with you was to come into your life to help you learn a specific lesson. For example, if it was a relationship where someone was unfaithful, or maybe they weren't unfaithful, but they just ended the relationship, and you're hurt and you're angry and you're feeling betrayed. But maybe it is that person had a contract with you before they came to this earth, and the time that they spent with you gave you what you needed to learn your lessons and fulfill your soul's purpose on this earth. And then they had to go, because if they stayed, you wouldn't be able to learn that lesson. So I think that's a beautiful way of looking at it. And it's another way that helps me to release that burden that's weighing me down and be able to forgive someone and move on. Forgiveness frees you from the past, and it allows you to live in the now. If you're harboring resentment and anger, you're living in the past, and you are allowing that to control your life now. And you are responsible for your feelings. You're not responsible for how people treated you, but you are responsible for how you're feeling now and today. And you don't want to let that person continue to rule the way that you feel. So you have a choice. And by forgiving, you're taking back your own power to live in joy now. So I encourage you to think about, what are you holding on to? What is weighing you down? And what do you need to let go of? So I want to give you an action step, an exercise to help you move forward in a place in your life that you need to forgive. So first of all, I want you to get out a piece of paper or a journal and think about a person or a situation where someone hurt you or betrayed you, and write down everything that happened. And if you want, you could write it in the form of a letter to that person. So this person is never going to see this. The person may even be deceased. It doesn't have to be someone who's living. They can still be controlling your life and your feelings from the grave if you allow them to. So I want you to write a letter to this person and really rant and rave. Don't hold back. Don't censor yourself. Don't edit. Just free flow. If you need to write 10 pages, you write 10 pages. Feel the feelings as you're writing. Feel the anger, feel the pain, feel the sadness. Allow it to flow through you. And then I want you to fold it up, take it outside, and burn it. And just imagine the anger and resentment floating up into the air with the smoke, and thinking about letting that person go and forgiving that person for not being strong enough to be there for you and to give you what you need. So release that person from blame. It was their shortcomings, and you realize now that they just could not do it. They did not have the strength to do it. This can be so powerful and so freeing and so empowering. So I encourage you to take this step and try it out. And as always, let me know how it works out for you. I love hearing your stories of success and how you're bringing more joy into your life. That is all I have for today. Thanks again for being here, and I'll see you next time.